Hey guys, Ash here in a little bit of a different video, obviously. If you clicked on this video hoping for some gaming content, hoping for a little bit of raid, well, it's probably not going to be the video for you, so feel free to click off right now. I've been meaning to record a video like this for a while now, kind of a more personal one-on-one or one-on, a few thousand video like this. Ironically, it's kind of easier for me therapeutically to talk to a camera in an empty room versus talking to one singular person in my life about these things, which is so bizarre, seeing as how any stranger in the world can just, know me in intimate ways where I have issues doing that on a one-on-one to an actual human being, which probably says a lot about me. But anyway, rewinding a little bit, I wanted to make a more personal video like this for a while, and I didn't have a great idea for raid today. Coming up with a raid video 365 days a year can be challenging, so once in a while it's nice to kind of, again, drop the game and just chat with you guys. And what I want to talk about today, I don't want to make it super heavy, but it will be a little heavy, I guess, at times, veer on that side of things, is, my silly cliche intro of sending positive vibes and love your way, especially if you need it out there. Sometimes I add a little, if you're going through something, just know that you can and you will get through it, and, partially that comes from my own life experience. And also, I think that sometimes you just need a reminder, sometimes the weight of this world can feel like it's so much on you, no matter who you are, and we all experience that through different ways. And sometimes it's also good to be reminded that other people are all going through that as well, right? This world, just the way that we experience consciousness, obviously, no matter who you are, it's tough not to be selfish and understand everything that you're going through and you're feeling out there and not apply that courtesy to everybody else that we encounter, myself included. But anyway, I say that every video, and I know it probably falls on deaf ears to 99% of people, especially when you repeat it every single day. But once in a while, I get comments, maybe a couple every video, saying, dude, Ash, how do you stay so positive, man? Like, I appreciate it, but man, you're also always so happy-go-lucky and whatnot. And, this applies to all content creators in the world, is you're only seeing a little tiny glimpse of them. People you love, people you hate, people you're indifferent to. You never really truly know who they are. It's by watching them on a TV screen. That can go for a regular TV as well, right? Actors, actresses, everybody, But truth is, I'm not a super positive person most of the time, or at least as much as I'd want to be. I actually am very cynical about the world around me. And although, my ethos as a human being is love and acceptance and perseverance and trying to spread that, it's also an idealistic version of who I want to be, what I portray myself out there. And you should know that about everybody that you watch, no matter who they are or how they act. But I'm not always happy-go-lucky. Partially, I'm talking to myself, I'm reminding myself that when I say, if you're going through something, hang in there, and you can and you will overcome it. You can. I want to talk a little bit about my rock bottom, What a great happy topic. I promise it will have a somewhat happy ending. But a little bit myself, personally, right, is I won't give my whole life story, but in a nutshell, I graduated from high school. I started university, and I ended up getting a job as a postal worker. Right, this is back in 2004, and I ended up quitting college because I was like, I'm making $20 an hour. I've got life figured out. What do I need school for? And it wasn't a bad gig. I really loved it, actually, because I had a walking route, didn't even have a vehicle for most of my career, over a decade, with the Postal Service. And I would just listen to audiobooks. I actually learned more outside of school than I did in school because I really cultivated that curiosity that you need in life. For me, if there's one thing that matters the most in life, it's being curious. If you can cultivate a level of curiosity within yourself and just genuinely be interested in things and learning things and always improving, even if you're older, to me, that is the secret of happiness right there. starting projects, being engaged with the world around us, right? So anyway, I digress a little bit, but I got hooked on Clash of Clans, and I used to do it on my mail route and stuff, just play and raid villages and stuff. And I saw a couple of content creators, a couple of YouTubers out there. Chief Pat was one of them in the very early days of YouTube as well. And I was like, maybe I can do this. I was always an experimenter. I did actually had, of all things, I'm an atheist. I respect all religions and stuff. Is not meant to be a religious video, but I've always had this yearning to be a theist. So I would interview local faith leaders. I would go to every denomination around me, and I had a blog about it. So that's what I did for a couple years before YouTube. That really exciting stuff, right? But I've always been into philosophy and again, theology, but as a non-believer. But I've always had such a curiosity, and I was raised very religious as well. But that's neither here nor there. I was always into something, right? I had a buying and selling from Craigslist onto eBay business as well. So I always did side hustles and stuff like that. And then I was like, I'm going to try YouTube out. So I did that, and man, it changed my life, right? So long story short, I had a channel, Clash with Ash. I still have it, still upload there sporadically, certainly not daily. And I traveled this world, and it opened my eyes up, That's the other big thing in life that really just changes you really dramatically at your core, is experiencing in a visceral sense almost other cultures and societies and other people. And it just opens your eyes to the world, and that we're all humans at our core, and, I digress again. I tend to go off in tangents. But anyway, I started a YouTube channel, changed my life. I traveled the world everywhere, 30 countries, in a few years. I was doing a lot of hosting and big events for Supercell, the creator of Clash of Clans, and it was awesome. It was life-changing, and I did a sponsorship for Raid, and here I am, almost 11 years later after I left the post office for YouTube, and started a company, co-founded Aftershock Media Group around 6 years ago, and we're going really strong there as well, and I'm super busy, but around, a couple years after I started YouTube, my brother, and I mentioned this before, when I do the autism charity stuff and whatnot, my brother Sean passed away. And this is coming off of my mom had just passed away. At the age of 48, she had super aggressive lung cancer. She was super healthy, non-smoker. It was a genetic mutation, which I found out after she passed away that I also had. It's called THR790MET, if you guys want to check it out. It's very, very rare, but she passed away. She was diagnosed, and then within a few months, she passed. She was dead. And, it's such a shame when a loved one passes away. Up until then, I had a pretty normal life, I would say. But when somebody passes away, what's etched in your mind is sad to say, at least for me, but the awful moments, of her cancer and our last discussions. And I remember, literally on her deathbed, just pouring my heart out to her, just everything I could possibly say because I wanted to say it, and it was so tough. I was engaged at the time, and I was a shell of myself. I started binge drinking all the time. I started, really abusing marijuana, and just out of consciousness, for the better part of any non-working hour in my life for a long stretch, an unhealthy stretch. And I isolated myself as well. It was then that I kind of really learned that I gravitated towards, when I was unhappy, isolation. But then through YouTube and some close friends, I was able to kind of get used to the new life. I'm sure if you've lost someone, you know what I'm talking about. You never really move on per se, but there's a new kind of a line of demarcation in your life, right? And then you just get used to a new reality without that person. And my mom was everything for me. She was a nurse, her profession, and I was a bit of a hypochondriac. She was looking out for me, like moms tend to do. And without that, I just felt like, this is kind of a pathetic way to say it, but I felt like there was no one to look after me. There was no one who really had my back unconditionally out there, and I felt such a great sense of selfish loss, all these weird things, She collected dolls, and not like a huge collection or anything, just like 20 of like these, whatever. I don't even know what they were, but, and like, I just remember all these things that were so important to her kind of having no value, and I didn't know what to do with them. I kind of put them in my basement, I think I might have lost them, And I just remember like just thinking about how people are forgotten over time, and I just started to think very nihilistic things about life, and it really drew me to Schopenhauer and Nietzsche, and really some dark philosophies that I really entrenched every ounce of my being in. And then my brother passed away a couple years later, and I had just kind of starting to get used to the new normal and maybe try to not stop my bad habits, but at least temper them a bit. And, went to therapy, found it very, cathartic. And then my brother passed away, and my brother Sean was, without going into a ton of detail here, I wasn't intending for this to be a huge autobiography, but I really started to spiral at that point. My little bro, just in his 20s, he was, I was his caretaker. And when I lost my mom, I felt like I had lost my caretaker, so to speak. And when I lost my brother, again, who was autistic, he was kind of like, a guy in his 20s. He looked that way. He looked, very normal per se. But he was really like a 5-year-old stuck in a, 28-year-old's body. He liked, Sesame Street and stuff like that. This so I was kind of a caretaker for him, in a lot of ways, a brother and a caretaker. So then I lost a great sense of purpose. He died of he had a seizure. It was so sudden. There was nothing, really wrong with him. He had epilepsy, but nothing like that crazy. Just occasionally, a couple times a year, he'd have a seizure. And one time he had a seizure, and his heart just stopped, and it was crazy. And it was just, I'll never forget. I was actually, when I found out, I just collapsed. Ugh. That was rough. And then I just went almost in self-pity. I went all into my bad habits again, but this time even worse. And I really just hated life and found no meaning, no purpose, And I remember some really dark days. Don't really want to get into the things, but I'm sure you can imagine. But a lot of dark thoughts entered my mind. And somewhat now that I have a child who might watch videos like this someday, I almost feel reticent to share too much of the dark days, because that's not what I want to be remembered for, But I say that to say that I've experienced deep, deep, deep pain. And I almost feel kind of embarrassed or whatever to talk about this on YouTube, because it's like, everybody goes through stuff, and who am I to be like on this pedestal of look at my pain, look at my damaged self and my story. It's so sad. But I was able to come out of it, and everybody you can find a catalyst. And mine was quite a few things. It wasn't just one thing. The biggest thing was Charlie, my son. Just the best little kid in the world, the best being in the world, And I got so lucky to have such a good kiddo, who just gave me such a sense of purpose. But it doesn't have to be a child, something that dramatic for you. And I'm not saying that hopefully you're happy-go-lucky and living life and great. But odds are one day you won't be great, So especially as an atheist, a lot of people find hope and promise in their gods. And that's great. I'm very envious of that, I do borrow a little bit from certain religions and certainly like Buddhism and stuff like that to find some sort of purpose. But also, I think there's a lot of mystery in the universe naturally. There's a lot of solace that can be taken in terms of like a, you know, existential point of view. There's a lot of solace and almost peace that can be found with everything that we don't know about the mysteries of the universe, in reality, in consciousness, in time. I think the temporal region or dimension has always interested me. The fact that consciousness as we experience it, or the present as we experience it, is every scientist would agree, right? Every physicist would agree, is just an illusion, you know? And I think I find some peace in that. Almost like the moments with my brother and my mother, they're just as real as these moments right now, me talking to you guys, right? In a way, in a, you know, in a very, not even metaphysical, but just in a, anyway, I digress. But I think the mysteries of life in the universe gave me a little bit of hope. And also, this is big speech, and I won't give it to you right now, but Anne Druyan said at Carl Sagan's funeral that always has touched me, and it makes me cry every time I read it. But she was asked, she says in the eulogy, you know, that Carl Sagan was asked before he died if he converted to believe in God or whatever, right? And she said that he didn't in this eulogy, but she said that what he did appreciate is the craziness, the chance of luck that in this vast universe that we would meet each other, that we would share the time that we do with our loved ones. What are the chances? What are the odds? It's almost just mind-blowing to think about how small we are. But yet we have the chance, I have the chance to speak to you right now, you watching this video. To me, that blows my mind, and I'm so thankful for it. I'm so thankful for all the moments that I had with my brother and my mother and all my other loved ones, you know? They're still real to me in a true sense, you know? Anyway, that's one thing. But then I didn't know at the time, on my lowest of lows, my rock bottom, I didn't know what I didn't know about my own life, about my own future. I didn't know that my son, Charlie, would come around and have such an unbelievable bond with me. I didn't know that I have the opportunity to change my life and with YouTube, you know? I didn't know so much. And I think the unknown, yeah, sure, on a universal level, but also on an individual level, I feel like that is what really helped me take somewhat of a turn. Still have tons of bad days. I'm still cynical. I'm still pessimistic. I'm still scared. It's kind of a weird thing to admit, but I'm afraid of bad things happening to me and those I love, you know? I'm afraid of the YouTube channel dying. I'm afraid of my company dying. I'm afraid of people I love getting hurt. But I think that having candid conversations and actually coming to terms with these things, I think it helps a lot. Also, being physically healthy, I think can help a lot on your mental health. We never appreciate our physical health until we don't have it, you know? And I'm not here to preach to anybody about anything, but I think when I started to focus a little bit more on my own well-being, you know, and I still have my vices, I think that helped a big, you know, in a big way. So I say all this massive overshare for the 3 viewers who are left watching. I say this to say that I wholeheartedly, whether you love me or you hate me covering Raid here on the channel, I really wish you the best. Seriously. What I want to do more than anything is just spread some hope and some love out there. You know, I care to the point that I don't know you. I do care about you, genuinely. And I wish there was a better way or something more I could do to show that. And I've always struggled to find that connection to really be able to reach out and touch the people who watch my content, whether they want to be touched or not. I'm touching you, damn it. But listen, I'm so thankful for you guys. And I wanted to share, again, as a response to the comments that how do you stay so positive? It's just like the reality is I don't. But having conversations with you guys every day, knowing that there's people out there who enjoy, you know, my content on YouTube, what I do in real life, the few lives that I touch, that I affect, people who I come encounter with, just passing by, just trying to be kind. This world, and I'm trying not to end in such a soapbox, but this world is so divisive nowadays. It's such a shame because truthfully, we are all humans and we could destroy each other, or we could try to learn to really put ourselves in the shoes of people we disagree with, to really, truly go through that exercise, I hate how divided the world is. And I fall victim to it all the time. I can roll my eyes or be cynical about other people, and other tribes and other whatever, But I think it's so important and it's so challenging, right? But it's testament to your character deep down if you can try to accept others, because we're all humans at the end of the day. And I think trying to force yourself to be a bit more positive about other people out there, I think that will make you happier at the end of the day. You will not be a miserable person if you try to do the same. So again, guys, I guess I've been super all over the place. You can tell I didn't take one damn note going into this video at all. But I want to end, again, sending a little bit of message of love and hope to you guys, especially if you need it out there. If I can get through something like that, and I didn't even cover like half of it. I thought I was going to die. I had like a massive health scare during all that time period. I probably left that out, but it's if I can get through stuff like that, I know you can get through whatever you're going through as well. So I guess we can end it there. Thanks for listening to me ramble the last 20 minutes. Quite different, but I thought it was good to maybe connect to a few of you guys who maybe need to hear something, or at least know a little bit more about the guy that you're watching talking about Raid Shadow Legends every day. Much love, and as always, take care, guys.